Show is powered by the award-winning golf courses at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Texas A&M with a devastating loss to Appalachian State. They lost twice, once on the field and game day. As game day was going to go to A&M, now they'll go to Appalachian State for the mighty Troy-Appalachian State matchup, which I know all of you have been waiting on since July. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Things getting a little rocky in College Station. Jimbo has had everybody hot and bothered over his recruiting, as they should. He has moved A&M into an elite recruiter, composite top 5, joining Bama and Georgia, Ohio State, and LSU. However, you lose 4 games last year to Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Arkansas, and a dead man walking LSU. And this year to Appalachian State, you got Miami coming into town and a rough stretch coming up. So we welcome in Olin Buchanan, Tex Aggs. Olin joins us on the Yuengling Lager guest line. The SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your car and home and go local and go with the home team and go with Farm Bureau Insurance. They'll take care of your family and help you save. Olin Buchanan, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well today. I think Saturday, I'm a non-drinker, and I think I needed some of that Yuengling Saturday after what I saw, because or maybe I thought I already drank it, because I surely might have thought that I was seeing something that wasn't there, but I'm doing okay today. But I think
have you ever?
There's a lot of Aggies walking around in disbelief.
Has Texas Aggs ever been in that big of a meltdown since you've been working for Tex Aggs?
Oh, well, I was here. As bad as it was, I'm sure you'll remember there was a game where A&M was up by 34 points with 17 minutes to go against UCLA and lost. So that was a pretty eventful day on TexAg. But, this is right there in the same kind of neighborhood.
We've been saying this for years, Olin, that Jimbo is not an offensive genius. People just took that from the 2013 Jameis Winston deal and, scuttlebutt, and people just say the same things to each other in their backyard. Fans are fans. That's great. At happy hour, whatever. Now, he's a hell of a recruiter. But Kellen Mond never got better. Last year, I understand Haynes King goes down. Calzada had one great game. Other than that, nothing there. It's an antiquated offense. It looks like the playbook is about 25 to 30 pages on the sideline, some paralysis by analysis. But no one is going to challenge Jimbo at A&M to make a change. So if the offense is antiquated, if he's not this QB whisperer, which I don't believe he is, and if he's not willing to change, why would it get better? And how does A&M turn the corner to become a 9, 10, 11 win team at some point with all this talent they're signing? Olin?
Okay, well, I'm with you on about 90% of what you said. Saying Kellen Mond never got better is just wrong. That's just – I saw it every game, and he did. But other than that, you're right. Do they need to simplify that offense? Maybe, yeah. Some change needs to be made. They might make it the change this week by changing quarterback. They do recruit well, so you've got to assume that there's plenty of talent. I will say this: I watched the game, of course, on Saturday, and I could not get a feel for what A&M was trying to do offensively. Now a couple of years ago when they had a good year, they lost the receiver, their deep threat early, so they said, we can't throw it, not to the degree we'd want to. So we're going to build it around a run game, and it was successful, and it made sense. Last year, you lose your starting quarterback, and as it appears now, it wouldn't have mattered because Haynes King has been very underwhelming in two games. But you're going with the second team quarterback that's not starting at Auburn, and you saw the results there. So all the other things you say are very fair. I mean, very fair questions. Do they need to do, or they definitely need to make some changes? What are those changes? Now, that said, people say, well, you got to hold Fisher accountable. Well, in what way? I don't think that even if the contract wasn't a situation, I don't think you'd fire the coach yet. But that's not even an option, because even if you were to the degree that it's not like a Scott Frost situation, because they've had some success, but B, if you wanted to fire Jimbo Fisher, which they don't, but if you wanted to, it costs you $81 million. So you've gone all in, and you're going to have to live with the results and hope that they get better, and he knows what he's doing. But now you have to ask yourself the question, whereas you used to be pretty confident that things were going in the right direction, now you ask your question, are they really going in the right direction? Now, you're going to get supposedly Bryce Foster back from mononucleosis, and supposedly he's your starting center, and there's some thought that he's going to be back in the lineup this week. That'll help. Maybe you're going to make a quarterback change. Maybe that'll help. But no, even with your backup guys, with the way you're recruiting, you should be able to go out and run the football on Appalachian State.
I agree. Olin Buchanan, Tex Aggs on the Yuengling Lager guest line. Do you think they'll go with Max Johnson? I know people were referencing Wagman or something on your board.
Connor Wigman.
Wigman, excuse me. But, gosh, he's young. I mean, we've at least been able to see Max Johnson play against SEC teams and play well, Olin.
Well, I would suspect if they make a change that it'll be Max. I have heard because of course, like everywhere else, we don't get into practice. I have heard that Connor Wigman is without a doubt the most talented, and that figures. I mean, he was this guy that I think he was either rated the number 1 or number 2 prospect in the country, depending on which scouting service you believe in. And he's from just about an hour from here, so a lot of Aggies saw what he did in high school. He was one of those fun players that can make the plays off schedules and do all kinds of crazy things. And but I think that probably taking the approach that this season is still salvageable. You haven't even played an SEC game yet. And so do you want to put it on a true freshman yet? And maybe if they lose a couple more games, you'll say, I might as well give the young kid a shot. But I would be surprised. So, I think if they do make a quarterback change, which is very likely, then I think they'll go with Max.
Okay, for our listeners, Max Johnson transferred from LSU. Some of you watched him play. He played pretty darn well at times for the LSU Tigers. Let me ask you this, Olin, as a Texas A&M insider, were you surprised that Jimbo didn't go to Max Johnson at least by late in the third quarter on Saturday?
Mildly, but part of it is ball. Or they rarely had the ball. I think they had the ball for like 18 minutes of the entire game. So mildly surprised. I thought at some time he might just make a change just to try to shake things up, just to see if the change couldn't just inspire his offense. But they're at the end, and why I think there's a good chance they'll make the change. I mean, there they are at the end of the game. As bad as they played, they have a chance to take the lead. And you got a first down at the Appalachian State 34, try the zone read and lose a yard. Anaya Smith on second down is breaks wide open, and it's not even a deep pass, but it's either a first down or very likely a touchdown, and Haynes throws 2 feet behind him. And then on third down, he has a guy open for a first down, and he throws it so short, the guy makes the catch, but he falls to make the catch, and then you miss the field goal. So when the game was still on the line and had a chance to win it, he just made 2 really poor throws. So I think he's one of those guys, from what we're told, that if you base it on what you see in practice, you think there's no doubt that he's the guy that you start. But I've seen it before. Sometimes guys are better in practice than they are in the game. I
True.
guess, when you can't get hit or the lights are on, whatever. But you can't keep going with the status quo. They had some long touchdown passes in the opener against Sam Houston, but didn't move the ball consistently. And then for that travesty, to get one touchdown, one offensive touchdown against a defense that gave up 8 to North Carolina, something's got to change. And I don't know if it's going to be the quarterback. I don't know if it's Jimbo Fisher changing his offense to some degree.
I don't think that will ever happen, but maybe.
Well, I mean, when I say that, I mean, is he going to simplify it?
Right.
Is he gonna just have fewer plays? Like they had a 3rd and 1 in the early in the third quarter, and Appalachian State's going to stack the box. They put 9 guys up front so they try to throw a bubble screen. Yeah, I guess it makes sense, but now you're counting on a quarterback that's been erratic to make a good pass. The guy has to catch it. Another guy has to make a block. And through all this, you got to figure the defensive back. Got to make sure he's not going to make a good play. Well, it wasn't a good throw, and you didn't get the block, and the defensive back made a good play, and you lost 2 yards. Now you got to punch. You can't even go for it on 4th and 1. I would think that you're in the SEC West, and if I can't get a yard on 2 tries, because you could go on 4th down
with A-Chain?
With Devon A-Chain as my running back against Appalachian State, then maybe I ought to just, punt the rest of the year. But I get it now. We all say this: if he makes the completion and he gets the block, it's a touchdown. And what a genius thing! So they always say, well, we need a better execution. Okay, well, can't you say that with every play that fails? What you need to do is get better results. And until they start getting better results, I'll say this. You didn't ask me this. This was a game where I felt like the first time since he's been here that the Aggie population is starting to turn on Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, it looked like it on your site.
It's a good gauge.
Yeah, that was nuts. I mean, y'all have a great play. Y'all have done a great job. It's a hell of a platform. And y'all have crushed it the last 10 years or whatever. But so Olin Buchanan, Tex Aggs, A&M Insider on the Yuengling Lager guest line. Now Jimbo let me go over this with our listeners real quick, and then we can ask Olin if this happens. A&M hosts Miami, plays Arkansas in Jerry's World, at Mississippi State, at Bama. Next 4. Olin, if A&M and Jimbo go 2-2 in their next 4, where is the fan base at that point with 3 losses going into the bye week?
Outraged. Because you're in your 5th year. You're in their 5th year. You've had 4. This team is right now is currently built on 4 top 10 recruiting classes. Everybody talks about the freshman class this year was number 1. Well, yeah, but all the other before that were all top 10 classes too. So you're in year 5, and you shouldn't be, hoping to win to go 2-2 in this stretch. You should be going up to Dallas expecting to beat Arkansas. You should be playing Miami, an ACC team, expecting. You should be thinking, I'm taking I'm taking the over. You should go to Mississippi State knowing that, every time you go to Starkville, it's just a disaster waiting to happen. But that's not the case anymore. You're in year 5, and even going to Alabama, you said, you're going to be the underdog, but going to go in there not scared with a feeling like you got a chance to win, and you don't even have to play a perfect game because you have the same kind of talent. That's where you should be. And based on what we've seen in 2 weeks, you're not. And there should be some kind of reason, that some kind of concrete reason you can say, why aren't you? And it's not, and you can't say, well, you had about a half dozen starters that were unavailable for the first 2 games. That's not going to fly.
No.
Because that flies if you're playing in Starkville or you're playing Alabama. Okay, but that doesn't fly when you're playing against Appalachian State, because quite frankly, the guys that you had as backups that were out there playing probably would have started at Appalachian State. You just got, as a coach, out-coached as bad as you've ever seen a coach get out-coached. And that's just the bottom line. Everything that App State did, they seem to be a step ahead of A&M, offensively and defensively. For the life of me, I don't know why DJ Durkin was rushing 3 guys so often against, when A&M has all these good defensive linemen. But okay. It's hard to be too critical on him, though. They only gave up 17 points. Sure. And 7 of them was a gift after a fumble. So most of it, 99% of the microscope has to be put on Fisher and his offense, and they got to figure that out, or this is going to be a disastrous season, not just a disappointing one, a disastrous one. And then you got to start wondering how that's going to affect things as far as the transfer portal, as far as recruiting and all those things. And so I think it's a very pivotal game on Saturday against Miami.
Yeah, A&M will host Miami. They're a 5-point favorite, but we'll see. Olin Buchanan, Texas.
We'll be glad for 5 points.
Yeah. Olin Buchanan, Texags insider on the Yuengling Lager guest line. Again, A&M hosts Miami on Saturday. This could be a hell of a ball game this weekend. What's the sentiment when you see people comparing the basically identical records with Jimbo Fisher and Kevin Sumlin 5 years in?
I think that's I think that's very short-sighted. Kevin Sumlin inherited Johnny Manziel, didn't know what he had, and he had Mike Evans and the best offensive line in the history of Texas A&M. There was, I think, 3 number one draft choices in the offensive line that in his first year that he didn't recruit. And then he had Cliff Kingsbury calling plays for him. And there's a big key right there. He had somebody calling plays for him, and maybe Jimbo should think about that, but he's not. But and also, A&M, when they were playing in the East, they were playing Vanderbilt a lot. They had Missouri one year before Missouri was good. A&M hasn't played Georgia. They played Florida. Well, they did with Sumlin too. But when A&M had a really good year 2 years ago, but that was against all SEC competition. So you don't have those 3 or 4 non-conference games that you were going to win. A&M's played Clemson twice, where the toughest non-conference opponent that Kevin Sumlin ever had was Louisiana Tech in 2012. So, I think that's short-sighted. I'm 6'1", 210 pounds. A&M's safety, Damani Richardson, 6'1", 210. He looks great. I look like a big, pile of fat. So the numbers don't necessarily – the numbers can be similar, but don't necessarily –
misleading.
There's still be a big difference. And I think that's the case. But I would be more concerned with where A&M – what that win total is going to be after 6 years or after 5 years, because if this season doesn't, if they don't make dramatic improvement, then they may end up having a losing season, which is for all of Kevin Sumlin's issues, and there were many, they never had a losing season.
Do you ever envision Jimbo relinquishing the play calling duties?
No, but like I said, something's got to change, and I don't know what it'll be. And he's been asked about that before.
Ooh,
but
that went over well.
His answer, yeah, it didn't go over well. So, and you know what? A lot of coaches wouldn't.
No, I know.
A lot do. A lot of coaches do have let somebody else play the call the plays, and it works well. But we shall see. Like I said, there's got to be changes. I don't know what they are, but I assume I don't think it's going to be Jimbo making changes with his play calling or with his overall scheme, except maybe just to try to simplify maybe some things and maybe not run as many plays. You mentioned he had a 30-page playbook or something like that. Maybe he's gonna only use 15 pages of it. I don't know. We'll see. But something's got to change because there was a lot of hope and expectation about this season, and it was deservedly so.
Well,
and to come out and play like they have is just it's just inexcusable.
I've got 30 seconds in the Tex Aggs network. Who is the most vocal as far as critical of Jimbo Fisher? Olin?
Well, it's not like you've had a lot of reason to criticize him before, because you could always say, well, again, last year they had the backup quarterback and all those things, but probably me.
Okay.
Probably. Billy Lucy, my boss, is one of those guys that probably doesn't react as quickly as I do. But and he's also been very critical. He was very critical after the game the other day. So, but if you're asking from the guys at Texas, probably me, and that's kind of also, they hire me to be their beat writer, so that puts me in that position where I'm supposed to be that way. So,
right.
I guess it's me.
Okay. And they lost out on game day.
Maybe that's a blessing in disguise.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Maybe you don't want the whole country looking at you right now. Maybe you just need to go to work and just do what you have to do to get better, without a whole lot of fanfare, because until you go out and show you're a better team, you don't deserve to be on game day. Yeah, right now they're ranked number 24, and I don't think they deserve to be a top 10, even ranked right now.
I agree. Olin Buchanan, thank you, buddy. Appreciate your time today.
All right. You bet.
Tex Aggs, Olin Buchanan on the Yuengling Lager guest line. Lunch today brought to you by Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue. Amazing burgers and sandwiches, blue plates and so on. Pulled pork barbecue, they've got it, B3 in Madison and Brandon. Show is also brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shop and Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. Boy, it's not a better time of year the next 90 days to play golf. Edwin Watts Golf Shop on County Line Road to upgrade your golf game and your bag, including golf clubs, irons, putters, drivers, you name it, and golf balls. Edwin Watts Golf Shop and Dancing Rabbit Golf Club.